And that was Steppenwolf, Born to be Wild. What a great series of music we just had going on there. Oh my gosh, absolutely awesome. If that doesn't get you feeling positive and uplifted, I just don't know what will. I just don't know, because there's lots of positive stuff going on. Lots of positive verbiage in the songs and the words around us when we take the time to focus on that. It's so important that we're selective with what we focus on. Selective with what we expose ourselves to, right? Whether it be music, pictures. Now, I'm not saying don't go in somewhere, just take it for what it is, right? And keep your focus light and positive, and try to see the good in things. That's what we need to do more of, and that's what we're going to do right now, because it's time for dun 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 dun. Does that sound pretty good? It's time for the good news. While the music is on, Steve, the owner of the Playfair Music audio stream, he popped in, and we're just catching up a little bit. We don't really get much time to see each other, and I was saying to him I need a jingle. He's got a recording studio here, so now here at Bottoms Up, you can come and you can get your band, yourself, whatever recorded. We have a whole recording studio, so we're going to be offering advertising on the stream here, which we did do before. As you may not recall, that we lost the studio to a fire 2 years ago, and so now we're in a new location, which is in a bar. Steve bought a bar, so that's where we are. So I'm in a little room that's just blocked off by itself, but there's another area where we're going to be doing like ads and recording bands and different things like that. You never know, maybe even recording the show. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, check out Bottoms Up here in beautiful Point Edward, Ontario, and check us out. Maybe this is where you want your stuff done. Maybe you're looking for some advertising and you want to advertise on my show. Steve's the one to talk to. So anyways, let's get serious with some good news. This is really cool. Music. We were just talking about music, right? Music is powerful. It can uplift the soul, move people to tears, inspire dance, and transform the mood of a whole room. Music also becomes a great teaching tool in the hands of one award-winning world music performer. Daria Marmaluk Hojaneo has developed a unique approach to opening children's minds to global cultures. She starts her concerts by letting children play with odd instruments from around the world, such as an Afro-Peruvian instrument made from the jaw of a donkey, an Andean instrument made from the toenails of goats, and an African instrument made from a dried gourd strung with beads or seeds. Daria says, I introduce kids to singing bowls from Tibet, talking drums from Africa, bone gurios from Mexico, and Middle Eastern drums, unique instruments that provide opportunities for kids to interact. At Daria's concerts, children will swarm around the drums and instruments to touch or play them. They'll ask, why do they use that? Or what does that mean? The experience offers a great place to begin meaningful conversations about cultures, as well as encouraging respect and interest instead of fear and ignorance. Not once has a child said, ooh, or yuck, about the cultures of origin, says Daria. This really has confirmed the statement that I believe. No child is born a racist. Totally agree. When I see the wonder and excitement in their eyes, I know it's possible for them to take this feeling about musical instruments that are fun to play and translate it to cultures that they will experience as they go through their day in their own community. This multiple parents' choice and Grammy-nominated artist has recorded and released 7 children's music CDs, published 3 books, and multiple music around the world mini courses, and makes many of her materials available free to educators and parents through a site called Teachers Pay Teachers. Very good. That is so absolutely awesome. And there's some truth there, like we were talking about earlier, how things are so competitive and we're so divided by whether it be by political party, by state, by football team, whatever. And this just shows that We are more accepting. We are, just humans and parts of nature. Oh, that's so cool. I love that kids, are leaders and showing us things. So absolutely awesome. Next up is a story about New Zealand. The government of New Zealand has just unveiled an ambitious set of environmental policies that are destined to take an aggressive stance against climate change in the future. The country's next prime minister, 37-year-old Jacinda Ardern, signed a coalition agreement earlier this week with the New Zealand First Party that addresses several initiatives to be employed by the coming administration. One of these initiatives is to plant at least 100 million trees in New Zealand every year of the Billion Tree Planting Program. According to the Associated Press, Ardern says that the goal is absolutely achievable. While the country currently gleans 85% of its electricity from renewable energy sources, the coming administration hopes to become 100% sustainably powered by 2035 and reduce its greenhouse gas emissions to zero by 2050. I don't need to be influenced on climate change, said Ardern. It will sit at the heart of what this government does. Ardern, who is the youngest New Zealand Prime Minister to be elected in 150 years, also outlined plans to build up the rail lines and infrastructure of smaller towns. That is so awesome. And you know what? Everything that we do is better. Everything that we do, we can learn from each other. As these other countries are being proactive with these matters, they can bring it back to the whole world and reflect on, this is what works, this is what didn't work, this is good, this is not such a good idea. And together we can learn and grow. That is so very cool. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then this is cool. We hear so much about the millennials, and I don't even know kids being born today what they are. I'm not even sure what I am. I know I'm not a baby boomer. I'll tell you that. I'm not a baby boomer. But I don't know what the kids are today. Because it's like every 10 years or something gets a title. Isn't that how it goes? Or 20 years? I don't know. Anyways, there's hope. There's hope. More than a decade of data reveals that American teens, which I'm sure are quite similar to Canadian teens, have become far less likely to abuse alcohol, nicotine, and illicit drugs, and less likely to engage in delinquent behaviors such as fighting and stealing. I can totally see this. Researchers found that the number of substance use disorders among 12 to 17-year-olds has declined by 49% over a 12-year span, along with a simultaneous 34% decline in delinquent behaviors such as fighting, assault, stealing, selling drugs, or carrying a handgun. The decline in substance abuse amongst teens in the years before 2015 parallels findings in other recent surveys, but until now, no one has looked at how the drop-off may be linked to other behavioral issues. We've known that teens overall are becoming less likely to engage in risky behaviors, and that's good news, said first author Richard A. Grukaza, a professor of psychiatry. But what we learned in this study is that the declines in substance abuse are connected to declines in delinquency. This suggests the changes that have been driven more by changes in adolescents themselves, more than by policies to reduce substance abuse or delinquent behavior. Other researchers have found that teens are delaying sex and using seatbelts more often than their parents and grandparents. Crux's team focused on substance use disorders involving alcohol, nicotine, marijuana, opioids, and the abuse of other prescription drugs or non-prescription drugs, and delinquent behaviors. It's not clear what is driving the parallel declines, Gruxa said. New policies, including things like higher cigarette taxes and stricter anti-bullying policies, certainly have a positive effect. But seeing these trends across multiple behaviors suggests that larger environmental factors are at work. These might include reductions in childhood-lead exposure, lower rates of child abuse and neglect, and better mental health care for children. Although heroin and opioid abuse have become an epidemic in many areas of the United States and Canada, the use amongst teens has fallen, according to this survey data. opioid problems continue to increase amongst adults, but amongst 10 to 12-year-olds, we saw a drop of nearly 50%. Based on the survey data, Gruksa and his team estimated that in 2014, there were nearly 700,000 fewer adolescents with substance use disorders than in the year 2003. And because it's possible for a person to be addicted to nicotine while abusing alcohol or marijuana, the researchers estimated the total number of substance use disorders among adolescents declined by about 2 million. The data come from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, an annual survey of 12 to 17-year-olds from all 50 states that is sponsored by the Substance Abuse Mental Health Administration. The data includes information from the year 2003 through 2014, the last year for which survey numbers are available. Total of 210,599 teens to 13,000 to 18,500 each year were part of the study. That is a lot of teens. That's a very good study when they have a good base like that. Oh my gosh. So that's good news. And even though, they don't really tie it together, we do have an opioid crisis. And how many of these younger kids have a cousin that died, have a friend that died, knew a kid in school that died? Hey? I bet that's got something to do with it. Wouldn't surprise me at all. So there you go. That's your good news for today. All those articles will be shared on the Positive Power Facebook page for you to check out at your own convenience.